come up with the idea? Go down to college.
And all the neighbors would come together.
My dad says, I need someone to walk through this. I have an idea.
He does guitar, and he never...
He would laugh when I would do Shakespeare or something.
I kind of got to that place.
We finished the scene.
Hi, I'm Cheech Marin. I'm a LA-born Chicano who grew up in a all-black section of LA, South Central LA, and lived there till I was 10, and then we moved to Granada Hills, which is a LA Valley suburb, all white. So one day everybody was black, and then the next day everybody was white, and I was brown on both of them. Kindergarten. I mean, right away, I was in the school play, the Christmas play, and I played the kettle drum. Up on the rooftop, boom, 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 and that was my cue. And I was little. I was always little. I was always either the littlest or the next to the smallest kid in every class I was in, all the way through high school. and our costume for this Christmas play was a paper headband with a big gold star on it. And so I was really little, so the only thing you could see when I was behind the kettle drum was this kind of star right there. It would bob up and down, and his hand would come over, boom, 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 on cue. But right from that point, I knew it was the highlight for me. You know, the reaction of the people. Everybody like, wow, oh, you're really great doing that kettle drum. They couldn't even see me. And you know, the lights, and I could see them, I could hear them out there, you know, and wow, they treated you as something special. They singled you out, and in my neighborhood, you always wanted to be singled out because you were just this massive, squirming humanity. Well, yeah, all our parents were born here as well. All our grandparents were born in Mexico. And they came here at a young age, so I'm third generation Los Angeles. And all our parents were, you know, they were smart enough, but they were, you know, tied to the economics of the time. They grew up in the Depression, so the onus was on him making some money and putting something in the soup kettle, you know. So, but they had aspirations for their kids. And they always pushed us. It wasn't a matter of a question of were we going to go to college, or what college we were going to go to, and how we were going to excel. I was a singer ever since a very early age. I made my first record when I was 5. There was a friend of our family who could make records, had a little record-making machine, you know, acetates, and I could sing. And he made my first record. It was a song called Amorcito Corazón. It was in Spanish, and I could sing it. He made my first record. It was distributed in little radio stations in the neighborhood, you know, so I was kind of this child star within a 3-block radius, you know, so that was kind of cool. Yeah. Well, they thought it was cute. You know, my dad was a policeman, so he wanted to be, you know, you have to have a job. His dream was that I would become a lawyer. You know, that sounded good. I went along with the program until I didn't. You know, that was the pattern of my life. I was, oh yeah, that sounds good, and then I think I'm over here. And but my mother, I grew up with a small circle of cousins who were very funny and very smart. And we were kind of the little Chicano anomalies. Our parents were blue-collar, working class, no pretensions to show business or no vast educational backgrounds, but all us four cousins, we were very smart. We all got scholarships to high school, college, you know, and did very well in that regard. So we were all, and we were funny. All of us were funny, and to get any time at the dinner table, man, you had to be on it, you know. And so I grew up in a very funny family, so it was the norm. But it was an anomaly because it was from an intellectual side. It wasn't like, you know, it was like 3 drunks walking a bar. It was, you know, literary humor and anything that was written, because we all went to Catholic school. We were all kind of conversing in Latin. We took Latin all through. So, you know, we'd make Latin jokes sometimes. You know, it was very on a high plane. We were smart kids. Well, it was always show business. You know, show business always intruded. I was always a singer, guitar player from the time I can remember. and I was in bands, I was in radio shows, I was in plays at the school, anything musical. I was there, but I was a good student, as were all my other cousins. They were good students, and so we just kept, we'd go along with from, oh, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a political science major, and you get to college, and like, but this band is, I'm over here. And it calmed everybody down, That's the whole thing. And so he came and saw it, and he thought it was kind of, the girls would come out for 3 numbers and shake him with a live band, and he turned that into an improv theater, but with the topless element, in usual Tommy Chong fashion.
Well, a lot of that story is based on
Cheech and Chong's actually big break was when we got discovered by Lou Adler, who was the biggest record producer in the world at the time, and the Troubadour. And I remember we came off the stage, we did a hot show, and it was the summer, and we were outside leaning against a car and thinking, wow, this is good, this is a lot of fun. And then a representative from Lou came in and said, hey, Lou Adler saw you and he wants to talk to you. I knew who Lou Adler was, Tommy didn't, and I go, that's the guy on all those records and all the artists I really admire. What's this gonna be like? And I couldn't hardly wait to go talk to him, but it was an interesting trip. I was in a number of bands, I did a number of musical things, and I always felt that somewhere deep inside I was an artist, but I didn't have a medium. I couldn't draw, and that was kind of my definition of an artist. And the last year of college, I took a pottery class just to fill out my schedule. I had a few more units to do to get my degree. I took a pottery class, and it unleashed my inner Mexican, and every day I went to that, and it coincided with the Vietnam War and the draft, and it was really getting heavy, and they were, and then I was part of the draft resistance movement. David Harris's. So then eventually, they were come after you. So my pottery teacher had a student that was opening up a pottery in Canada. He said, I have this student, he's up there, and he might need an assistant. So I said, perfect. Tommy, I eventually wound my way to Vancouver, and Vancouver was, in those days, it was the San Francisco of Canada, and it was all happening there. And I arrived in town penniless, as usual, and I had got a job delivering carpets. And my first day in town, we were in downtown Vancouver at Main and Pender in Chinatown. And I saw that, I went by the strip club and had these pictures of these long-haired hippies doing looks like some kind of skits, political skits with war helmets and clubs and naked girls. What is this? And I went up and I saw this, what they were doing. They were doing naked improv. And hey, I could do this. So I joined the troupe. I made some resume up on the spot. That's improv, and he bought it. So what the hell? And I told him I was from this great improv actor from L.A. and I told him all my credentials. And I joined the troupe as a writer first. And so he came and saw it, and he thought it was kind of the girls would come out for 3 numbers and shake him with a live band, and he turned that into an improv theater, but with the topless element, in usual Tommy Chong fashion. And so he told the girls, okay, you're not topless dancers anymore, you're actresses, And so I joined that, and I slowly started working my way into the cast, substituting for people who weren't there or couldn't make it. But so pretty soon I could do the whole show. After 9 months, the topless group, improv group, broke up. Tommy and I stayed together and amalgamated what we were doing there for 2 guys, and left for LA the next day. And so I got a phony idea. I got a friend of mine, you can tell his name now, Bill Knorr, and his idea with a picture on it of Bill Knorr. you know, and I guess I kind of looked by him, and I went, so I went back to L.A. Snuck in. So all this time, and then Tommy joined me. So he said, "Okay, what do? We gotta find a gig." So we would walk around the city all the time looking for nightclubs or new. But on Mondays we would go to the Troubadour, which was the white club, and it was the establishment white club for all the whatever was happening. All Linda Ronstadt, the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Steve Martin, they all came out of there. And so that was a place to get discovered. And if you lined up in front of the Troubadour, and if you were the first 6 acts that were there, when they opened the box office at 6 o'clock, got to go on that night in reverse order. And we'd come there at 9 o'clock in the morning, sit on the sidewalk in front of the thing, and eat sunflower seeds and talk about what we're going to do and make up stuff. And we sit there all day, well, from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and be the first ones. And then we'd go on that night. We'd go home, shower, and eventually, through that process, we got discovered by Lou Adler, who was the biggest record producer of his time. And I would get on the back, and he would go, we looked like 2 homeless guys, you know, going through the city. And we do 3 or 4 gigs a day, you know, at night, rain, doesn't matter. And we do that. And so anyways, we got together with Lou Adler, and he had this big record company.
Just getting it working in construction. My mom and dad were dancers, but I like going up.
Tommy and I were together for 17 years, every day, 24 hours a day, creating, making records, going tours, making movies, and I guess it was like a long marriage. We just got sick of each other, and you know, he didn't want to hear the other guy's opinion. I guess that happens. So familiarity breeds contempt, and we broke up, and it was tough on both of us. And our goal every day was somehow we had to get our hands on $1.50, somehow. We'd collect pop bottles. We had a wagon we'd pull along with us and walk along with this wagon and talking about bits. Hey, how do we do this thing? You're a policeman and I'm a hippie and blah, blah. And we'd have this wagon. We'd go by empty lots or something. We see pop bottles, throw them there. And at the end of the day, we'd turn them in and we'd get $1.50. It had to be $1.50 because we could make a Chinese meal, a little beef and greens or with some rice or something. But had to make $1.50 every day. So, and we did it. And so. You know, it was always, we didn't really worry about, you know, where we were going to live or how we were going to, our eye was focused much farther down the future, you know, that we're going to be big, we're going to be, this is good. Because every time we played, we got a reaction. I mean, it was like, even in all the black clubs, wow, okay, this is something new, this is something cool. So our act was really black. In the beginning, we were the house band at one point at a place called the PJ's when it reopened as the Uptown Black Club in Hollywood, and we were the opening act for Carmen McRae, Edwin Starr, The Temptations, The Marvelettes, Ray Charles, the Isley Brothers, Edwin Starr, Ray Charles, everybody that you could think of, and we opened for them. So we had this big following, and then the club went under. Coincidentally, Lou Adler had grown up in East L.A., so that part of our act, that Chicano lowrider sensibility, he really related to. He saw us that one night, sent word that he had seen us, and could we come and talk to him? Okay. So the next day we went over and walked again. No, at that time we were really uptown because somebody, I think Tommy's wife, had given us a Vespa. It was a Honda 90. It was like a Vespa. It was this little thing, and we both used to ride it. I remember, and we were doing gigs, going around from different parts of the city. We would put on all our costumes over each other, like layers and layers of costumes and hats and shoes around our neck, and I would get on the back, and he would go, we look like two homeless guys, you know, going through the city. And we do 3 or 4 gigs a day, you know, at night, rain, doesn't matter. And we do that. And so anyways, we got together with Lou Adler, and he had this big record company. And he says, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, you got a record company, let's make a record. Had no idea how to make a record or what we would do because we were a stage act. And so he says, okay, well, here's a studio. And I said, what do you need? He said, well, we need some money. And I was like, and so that was in the days when bands were getting like $150,000 to sign. You know, you could live the rest of your life on it. And so he says, well, so the lawyer says, well, Lou's going to offer you $1,000. And so Tommy reaches for the pen. I said, no, wait a minute, let's discuss this. So there's 2 of us. We should get $2,000. Okay, we want $2,000. I have to ask Lou. Lou. You could hear him laughing on the other end. All right, give it to them. And so we got $2,000 and a tape recorder. And so we went into a little rehearsal room and started translating what we did on stage to records. And that's where we came up with all the bits. Dave's not here, from that process. And we write during the day, go record it at night. Right during the day, we recorded at night, and then the end of the period, we had an album. Wow, we thought it was really cool, you know, but we had no idea of how it was going to get accepted or anything. We knew our stage act was getting reaction, but we didn't know record. And so we put out the record, and pow, it exploded. I mean, it just exploded from coast to coast. And we go, wow, this is happening. Let's go for the ride. So buckle up, because here we go. Underground. They had underground radio in these days, FM radio. You know, B. Mitchell Reed here in Los Angeles, he broke it. He played, you know, a bunch of different cuts off the album in succession. See, you know, the thing that comes out of that process is you become a trooper. I mean, you know, no matter what the conditions, no matter if there's 2 people in the hall or 20,000.
Construction. My mom and dad going up.
Right now, Tommy and I have gotten together after having been apart for 30 years, and we just did a reunion tour all last year. We're going to do another tour and make a movie this year. That looks great on the horizon, to be able to come back and have the audience still there, or even a new audience being there in mass quantities. Is really exciting, and it opens us up to do anything we want. You know, and preview, okay, 15 minutes to the next Cheech and Chong, and just the name. You know, who the hell is Cheech and Chong? What the hell is a Cheech and Chong? Is it a Negro with a tamale in the middle? Or, you know, they didn't know what the hell it was, but they heard these voices, and it was telling tales of what was happening in the streets at the time, of their culture, from a foot soldier's point of view. You know, we were grunts of the Cultural Revolution, and we knew we were right there. And it just caught on, and all of a sudden, wildfire. They had Underground Railroad in this. It wasn't formatted, Underground Radio in this. It wasn't formatted. It was very free form, and we fit right in. And then we took off. Just like that. You know, I think it was around the release of our 3rd album where we looked at each other and says, I guess this is what we're going to be doing. You know, this is our life. We're going to be doing this for, it's not something we just did an album and, hey, we're going to go get a job as an accountant. We're like, this is what we're going to be doing, because we had been in a process of heads down doing gigs, one gig after the other, after the other, after the other. The record was out there, was gaining steam. Oh, it's doing really good. Okay, we got another gig. We record on the road. Whenever we got into town, we go in the studio and record some bits, or they send an engineer and just an engineer, basically, and our producer out on the road. We record in hotel rooms, and so that process went on for like 3 years. I mean, yeah, until we made an album a year and toured the rest of the time. And it wasn't until all of a sudden, I think we won a Grammy for the 3rd album, or the I think the third or fourth album. And we're like, oh, wow, we won a Grammy. Cool. Oh, I can afford to buy any car I want. Wow. Okay, let's go back on the road. You know, it was always a process of never stopping and never looking down. You know, when you're climbing, don't look down, just look up. And we went from that process of making records and touring constantly. We used to tour 250 to 300 days a year. You know, it was always on the road. And we went from that process into making movies. And then we made one movie after another, back to back, same process. And we didn't stop for 17 years. Never looked back. You know, and they're like, okay, we got to do the next thing. The thing that comes out of that process is you become a trooper. I mean, you know, no matter what the conditions, no matter if there's 2 people in the hall or 20,000, or it's raining, or you've been on the road 18 years and I want to go home, or nothing. The show must go on, and you develop these balls. I mean, just like you can do anything, any condition, anything. You just kind of assess it, and you go out and wrestle the bear. And to this day, I have really great pride in that ability, or that part of my personality, and Tommy's as well, that we can go out and do that. And I don't have really respect for any other performers who don't do that. You know, I was like, you know, it's like, show me some chops. You know, I only have respect for hoofers or veterans or troopers that can go out, and you can tell them right away. It's a calmness that comes out of confidence. You know, they just, okay. You see them when they walk into a hall, like Eliza Minnelli or somebody. You see, I've seen them all do this. They walk in the hall and they go, okay, or take a nap or whatever it is, and you can see that they know exactly what they're up against. You know, it's like they look at the bear. He's got big claws. Okay, I have to watch out for those, and you can see that ability to and there's a great calmness that descends on you from that process, that you realize that you belong in the room. And so, okay, you know, there's that nervousness goes away. And when that nervousness goes away, it brings out this great spontaneity and the great ability to create on your feet, and you have confidence in your ability to create. That's a great feeling. You know, you're not scared of Jesus is going to run out. It's never going to run out. You know, and you have that knowledge. Me and Tommy Chong,